Alright everybody, welcome back to episode 4 of OCA Youth Podcasting. As you can see, we're making it big now. We have tables and chairs and we're not sitting around in a semicircle anymore.
That was me, guys.
Anyways, today's topic is about confidence and identity. So let's just all introduce ourselves first.
Hi, my name's Ian. My favorite season is winter because I like skiing.
Hi, my name's Sid. My favorite season is autumn because my birthday's in autumn as well as Halloween.
My name is Max. By the way, we're all rising juniors. So my favorite season is winter because I like skiing and the cold.
My name's Ollie, and my favorite season is spring because I don't have allergies.
Yeah, I'm Ryan. My favorite season is winter because I like drinking hot chocolate.
Hi, my name is Stefan. My favorite season is winter, also because I wrestle during winter season.
Alright, so as we said earlier, today's topic is going to be confidence and identity. So I think to me, when I think of confidence, it's about being able to sort of have something you want to do and evaluate the opinions of other people or evaluate your self-doubts. And despite all that, still come to the conclusion that, you want to go through with what you're doing, you believe in, what you want to do, your own motives and your own initiatives. But I'm just curious, what do y'all think confidence means?
Well, to me, confidence kind of means that ability to do whatever you think is right, not really care too much about the opinions of others, and follow your own path rather than trying to follow the path that others set out for you.
Yeah, I think confidence really mixes in with identity, knowing that if you have a lot of confidence, your self-identity is definitely there, and you don't let anyone else kind of bring you down, and you follow your passions and do whatever you want to do, whatever you're passionate about, not caring about what other people think. So I think confidence is something that's very tied in with identity.
I think confidence also has a lot to do with believing in yourself, the ability to know that what you're doing is right. As long as you're certain of that, you can go where you want to go in life.
And also part of it's the ability to bounce back from doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I think confidence is always looking at the outcome, not what other people's opinions are of me. So not disregarding all judgment, just focusing on yourself and believing in yourself to focus on the best outcome possible and the outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, when I think of sort of how confidence is applied and what it matters to me, I remember that during the 9th grade, I signed up for a speech class. And, at that point, the first time I'd done public speaking was in kindergarten. So, number one, I haven't done it in a long time. Number two, we're coming out of quarantine. I have a stutter. I haven't talked face-to-face individually with anyone at all. Nonetheless, an entire room full of people, and then a teacher who's sitting there taking my grades and checking for all my movements and slight posture changes and whatnot. So I think going into that experience, there was a lot of doubt in me being able to talk. My speech was about some guy on the subway cussing us all out after asking for money and nobody listened to him. That was a great experience as a 6-year-old. Anyways, having to tell that speech in front of that room of people and with those circumstances, I think that's where confidence really comes in. See, despite all these things that are working against me, I believe in the work I've been doing. I believe in the practice I've been doing. So I'm going to go through. I'm just going to go through with it. I'm going to try and do my best. But, for y'all, what's a moment when you felt that your confidence was really tested and when you felt that had to be addressed?
Yeah, Max, that story was actually very similar to mine where I, came out of quarantine. I didn't have a stutter, but I was very anxious to talk to people because it was a very new experience for me. I wouldn't say new, but it was something unoriginal ever since I spent all that time in my bedroom. Talked about that a lot last podcast. And I also mentioned the fact that whatever that was holding me back in terms of quarantine, I got through that just by going and talking to other people and socializing with other people. And there was a time where I had to speak in front of the entire class on a certain science project. I don't even remember. But I just knew that after quarantine, there wasn't really any time where I got to share, really anything with other people. Anybody besides my parents, which were definitely there for me during the quarantine days. But I just know that confidence was definitely a huge factor for me going through that experience, just knowing that, there's no repercussions on saying anything in terms of what I said that day. Confidence definitely helped me get through it, especially through a new set of people.
For me, I feel like my confidence is really being tested when when I'm getting ready for my like pre-matches for wrestling, and this could also apply to like any sport, like just before a match. It's just like you always have to believe in yourself and trust in your own abilities and your team's abilities if it's a team sport to win and to have the best outcome possible. And it's like something that it's always hard to fight because you're always like wondering you're always also desperately wanting to win all the time, but it's not really exactly about winning. It's always about just having the best outcome, like working your hardest and doing what you can control, and just like having that level of confidence to boost your morale, to like just remind yourself not to always like look for just winning.
I mean, with that being said, in terms of like an important moment where confidence tested, I want to just like add on top of that, like why is confidence important at all, right? Like why do we value confidence in these situations? Why do we value confidence when we're under pressure? Just any of y'all's thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it ties closely into that idea of identity, because without confidence to be who you are, there really isn't that aspect of identity, that aspect of knowing who you are and wanting to be that person, and everyone would morph into the same person that everyone expects them to be, kind of.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, just because like in life, not everybody's gonna agree on everything, and if we all try to like just get along and have the same opinions, dress the same way, eat the same food, take the same classes, do all that, have the same interests, it's just gonna be boring. That's just a boring life to live. That's a boring life to try to live. So in a certain sense, sort of establishing yourself and establishing your self-identity takes a level of confidence, and that confidence, as Sid said, is like really important to having a happy life, having a unique life.
Yeah. So like Max was saying, I kind of have like a personal like anecdote here, but like I was on Reels like a while back, and there was a short, like there's there's people that just give like life advice. You can like give you advice on how to be like popular, how to be like confident or whatever. This dude was like tip number 1, like always be quiet, like never talk all the time. You feel me? And I'm saying like if everyone's like following that advice and everyone's always quiet and never like talking, like how are you ever gonna start an interesting conversation? Like if everyone's conforming to this like kind of this ideal person to be the most popular, to be the most confident, quote unquote, like how are we ever gonna have self-identity? You understand? So like having the confidence to believe in who you are and like understand that popularity is not the most important thing. Like being your own person is the most important thing.
Yeah, Ollie, I totally agree. When we're talking about your self-identity, I think confidence definitely helps you, or it's a key factor in making sure that you are yourself and you don't conform to what other people like think of you or let other people kind of bring you down. We talked about peer pressure on the last couple of podcasts, and I think that's a huge factor that plays in if you don't have like confidence. It's very detrimental to your self-identity in ways that you're trying to conform to what other people are trying to make you do, and to be your own person and to be yourself in that sort of situation where you don't have that confidence. That could be like having that is also very, very important to your self-identity if your confidence is definitely higher. I'm trusting that a lot of people know Fleetwood Mac, and there's this song called Go Your Own Way, and I think that it's a very catchy song, but I also wanted to point out that one of the lyrics was, to go your own way, and to go your own way meaning not to follow up, I wouldn't say not necessarily follow others, but also like choosing your own path or the path that you're passionate about.
Ryan, I want to thank you for not breaking out into song and dance and getting us copyright strikes. But on top of that, I agree with what you said about having the confidence to go against what society wants you to be. Being that, in the Asian American community, we're all aware of, stuff we've mentioned over and over again, right? Like model minority, stereotype that Asians just go to school, get good grades, they don't really say a lot of stuff, mental health isn't real, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And then to a certain extent, confidence is so important, because false stereotypes like these that sort of box in the community, you need to have the individual confidence to go against them. And that's the way that, that's really the origin of a lot of social change and a lot of change for the better, for the Asian American community, but also other communities as well.
Confidence is also especially important, as Stefan was saying earlier, in athletics. As at least with me, I know when I'm playing soccer, confidence is probably one of the most important things when you're on the field, because if you're not confident, you're not playing. And that kind of ties into everyday life as well, because part of soccer is playing your play style, and in our own life it's like that as well. Like, you're trying to be your own self, and confidence is necessary for that.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned athletics, because I'm a big golfer, and because golf is such an individual sport, right? You have the chance of choosing which path you want to go. Like, if you want to do a risky shot or you want to play it safe. And sometimes we need to understand that confidence definitely plays a part in like our paths, because in golf, if you don't have the confidence to make the shot and you go the safe way, that might like not pay off as well as taking the riskier shot and having self-confidence in yourself. And again, as Sid said, that also ties into daily life. Choosing where you want to go in the future, or after, let's say, college, or after, like, in terms of job careers and stuff. I think for us, like, confidence is definitely the key factor, and I think it's one of the primary factors and the main reasons of where, like, we want to go, and the thing that influences us to where we want to go.
Mm-hmm. And I like that Ryan and Sid mentioned golf and soccer. So I have my own athletic story, but I do cross country, so it's a little different, because in these circumstances, I think you sign up, you can do something cool, make a cool shot, score a cool goal, whatever. So I just signed up for like 5,000 meters of torture, and
Yeah.
I think to a certain extent, going through things that are going to be hard, hard class, hard race, hard stage of your life. All of those require confidence, right? It requires confidence to step up to the starting line and to, do what you got to do. Even though it's going to hurt, it's not going to be fun, but it's just the way it is. With that being said, though, I'm curious as to, in those sorts of situations where there's a lot of pressure, you do need to apply a lot of confidence, whether or not, anyone's confidence wavers, and why that could happen.
I mean, I think everyone's confidence, like literally everyone's confidence does waver. Even with pros, you hear about confidence issues. You hear about, especially with pros as well, because there's so much pressure on them, social media, all of that stuff.
Right.
And I think if your confidence isn't wavering, that's kind of strange, because it's only normal for your confidence to waver.
Good for you, though. Good for you.
Yeah, good for you. But what's important is to get past that and still get through it by dealing with it in your own way. And I feel like everyone has their own way to kind of deal with confidence issues, especially with athletics.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think a big experience of mine also taught me that my confidence wavers when you're afraid of letting other people down. I wouldn't try to tie in athletics as much here, but I want to also bring in grades and academics, knowing that if you don't have self-confidence in yourself, that you're afraid that you won't get this certain grade and you might disappoint yourself, your family, and also if your friends get a better grade than you, the comparison there, your confidence definitely wavers by that. And I'm sure that all of us has had that experience, and how we all know that it's not really beneficial to your mental health. But I think that knowing that you have your own goals and limitations, and knowing that you have to pursue no matter what and try your best no matter what, I think that's such a huge thing that's been a part of me throughout my school years. But I just wanted to point out that's why my confidence was wavered in some reasons.
Yeah. I think a huge reason why a lot of people's confidence is shakes is because so often they're always comparing themselves, like Brian said, they're always comparing themselves to other people that obviously maybe in higher steps in them, and whatever topic they're on, either sports or just grades. And it's just they're always so focused on comparing themselves and seeing how well the other person is doing, and that they're just so disregarding themselves and their own abilities, and they're just they sometimes forget to realize that they may be a beginner, or that it's always just steps, they're always working up, and they may not be as high of a step as the other person they're comparing themselves to. And I also think judgment is also very I think judgment definitely ruins confidence a lot, because so often if let's say if we're in athletics, if we're focusing on a sport and a match, we're always so worried about what other people are gonna think about us when we're on the field, or when we're performing. It's just that thought of people judging us for making a mistake or doing something wrong, obviously shakes our confidence a bit, and just makes us perform.
I think another spot like where comparing yourself to others is huge is like when you're working out. You know, like a lot of people, like me and Max were talking about this a while back. Like people like hop on trend or like steroids, like after like a month of working out just because they saw someone like bigger than them online. You know what I'm saying? And the person online is probably on trend too. So like. It's like, especially in bodybuilding, like the mentality is like, this guy's bigger than me. How am I ever gonna get this big? And like you've just been working out for a month. Like you have no idea what your natural potential is. You know, like you can't just give up that quick. You know, and for me, working out is a big part of my life. So I have to deal with that too. You know, I see a lot of people online, a lot bigger than me. But you know, it's a day at a time, and the ability to know that I'm gonna keep getting bigger if I just keep working. You know.
Sure. Bring it back to what Sid was saying earlier about, soccer professionals and sort of these top tier athletes being a lot of times more nervous than regular people when you're playing in sports because they have all these expectations on them. I don't want to call like any of us professionals because I don't think we are, but like in the Asian American community, again, there's the idea. There's the idea that. We have to get straight A's and we have to get these grades. If it's not, society putting these pretty unreasonable expectations on us, it could be, teachers or sometimes family or even friends. And in these circumstances, like, I think you definitely do have like a lot of wavering confidence. You do feel a lot more nervous, like going into school or like going into a class or going into taking tests because you have all this added pressure of how you're supposed to do. Just like as a default, you're supposed to excel. And I think a lot of times that's really harmful, but as you become more conscious of the fact that model minority expectations are not really realistic and everybody has their own journeys and learning and education, what they want to do at school, you just got to accept that I'm just going to do the best I can, and who cares what other people say. On the little happier end though of confidence and all that, like what do y'all do to boost your confidence, or how does your confidence get boosted?
Yeah, I can start off with this one. There's many ways you can, boost your self-confidence and help strengthen your self-identity, but I just want to point out one that's really been super important for me, especially during the school years, as I talked about like 7,000 times. It's about like trusting the process, right? You said something about, you said model minority expectations.
I'm gonna snap if you talk about your 8th grade honors math class.
Okay, well, I was gonna bring that. No, I'm just kidding. Well, basically, in terms of trusting the process, all these expectations have kind of been put onto our shoulders, and in the Asian American community, I feel like that can be kind of a burden on a lot of us. Trying to get the grades, trying to get 100. No, you can't get 100. You gotta get 105. Okay, so when that kind of got to me, especially during when high school started and when 9th grade started, and knowing that this is crunch time and knowing that this is the time I need to lock in. I think understanding that some things don't go your way and understanding that the result is like the result, there's nothing you can do about the result except by trusting the process and understanding that the journey to get there, especially during final season for me. My confidence was definitely it plummeted because the subjects were really hard. Let's just be clear. So when that happened, I want to emphasize that trusting your study ethics and your work ethics and understanding your weaknesses in a certain subject and in terms of grades, I think just by trusting the process, that can help you understand your result in a way, or understand that what you get is what you get. It's either if it's bad or if it's good, like you have to move on and you have to focus on something else. And that mindset definitely helped me during that final season, and that's just one way.
So that reminds me of something my mom always says whenever I'm talking about grades and what ifs when it comes to that. And as I mentioned last week, I am Hindu, so she always ties it back to this one Hindu text called the Bhagavad Gita. And the whole idea of that is just kind of do your job, and then there's nothing more you can control. And that's something I find especially kind of comforting in terms of just there's nothing more I can do. If I do what I can, then just have to move on.
I think a big thing in boosting your confidence is finding things that you find pleasure in. So especially, I think for all of us, we all enjoy sports, and just like taking like care of yourself, like mentally and physically, and also Someone else is gonna
You're good.
I lost my train of thought.
Yo, what was your point on? Oh, okay. You got it. Tap
Actually,
in.
wait, can I go back?
Alright.
Also, I
Take
think
two.
being optimistic, like, you know, you mentioned what ifs. Like, I feel like if you're pessimistic, like, it's just you don't have any confidence. And being optimistic, like, is a real good factor because, you know, you have in your mind that you're gonna do well, and that, like, I guess makes the goal more achievable for you guys, for people.
Yeah, to kind of add on to all like the like believing in yourself and just like trusting in the outcome, I think what was also really important on like helping your confidence is to just remember what you've practiced and what you've studied, and like, you know, the effort you put into whatever, like doing it for like either for a test or either for a match. Like, just remember all the hard work you put in and like your efforts, like all your studies, all your, you know, like workouts for your sport. It's just like, just know that like you doing those practices is just, it's just like all the effort that you put in really does matter, and that like it's that effort is not going to waste, and that if you really just trust that and like remember that you're actually like, you know, working hard, and just believe in the efforts you put in, you will get you'll get better results and better outcomes that you expected, and that, you know, the process was naturally going towards.
For sure. And, you know, I think that sometimes, like, even the simplest things can help you boost confidence, right? Just like, you know, my grandparents, they, you know, I like talking to my grandparents, and whenever something good happens, you know, I do go on a test, I do go on a race or whatever, just a nice event, like, I just tell them, they'll be like, wow, this is great, you know, they'll compliment me. You know, again, like, they're sort of the targeted group of that model minority stereotype, or that like Asian parent stereotype, but, you know, they compliment me a lot, they show a lot of affection and compassion. That being said though, just like, what are some moments that y'all think, like, you know, other people, your friends or your family, can help you try to boost your confidence? Like, what are some actions that can try and help with that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my friends and my family play the huge role of bolstering me in a position where I can understand, like I don't go past my limitations in a way, or try to surpass that result in a way that affects me negatively. I just want to make that clear. Understanding that my family, they do fit the mold of, they don't fit the mold actually, like, not at all, but they're they expect a lot from me, and I know that for sure, but also knowing that they understand what my goals are, and knowing that they also understand, like, if I fail, they'll always try to bring me back up, and just having that support, like this chair right here, just having that just having that support. Explain yourself. No, the chairs, well, I'd be sitting on the floor, I'd be all like but going back, I just think that having confidence in me, not just myself in terms of self-confidence, but I mean their confidence in me in able to do work and athletics, and their confidence has definitely helped me to put me in a position where, like, they shaped, or they helped me pursue my passions, and it definitely helped shape my self-identity.
Yeah, to add on to what Ryan said, like, definitely when, like, you know, your siblings or your parents, when they understand that, like, you know, that you kind of have to fail if you want to do better, like, when you realize that they understand that, like, they're trying to just help you, like, you know, for, you know, specific events that have a lot of pressure on, like, on you, like, again, matches, sporting events, or a test, it's just, like, just remember that, you know, like, failing is okay, like, just know, like, and understanding that, like, the people close to you understand that, you know, even if you fail, it's not a bad thing. It's in fact more helpful for, you know, your natural growing process. So, you know, just kind of like expecting and understanding what your siblings or whoever's close to you, close friends, family, whatever, relatives, just knowing that they understand failing is good, and that they won't judge you on your mistakes is definitely very helpful.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to go back to that you mentioned about optimism. At least for me, I feel like optimism isn't necessarily always the best, because I feel like it's also important to be realistic and understand that you're not going to accomplish everything. And yeah, it's good to believe that you can do well on something, but I feel like it's not good for your confidence to believe that every time you do something, you're going to be the best and you're going to win.
For sure.
Yeah.
Particularly in athletics, I like to give, big props to coaches and what they do. Thanks to, my 3 track and field coaches, but coaches really focus on, the bottom line. You just go in there, do what you got to do your event. Doesn't matter if you're feeling nervous, doesn't matter if you're, unless you're feeling like sick, you're about to throw up, then you probably shouldn't go for health reasons. But like, in terms of that mental game, in terms of that confidence game, they're looking out for you, they're looking out for the bottom line, and you just got to get there, get what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just also wanted to point out that a mindset, especially when you talked about optimism, but also about being realistic, I think your mindset is definitely something that my parents and my friends have kind of, helped me gain like a good mindset in going into things, knowing that things might go your way, things might not go your way, but you will have to try the best you can to make sure it does go your way, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think that my self-identity has definitely been based off of, trying to excel high and go higher and higher, the sky's the limit, but also understanding that what if you fall down to the ground, you always need to pick yourself back up. I think my identity has always been, you fall, you get down, you come right back up. And I just want to ask a question that, how does your self-identity impact or affect your confidence to you guys?
Well, I mean, I think having a good sense of self-identity and having a good sense of who you are, in general, is just super important to confidence, because confidence is believing in what you're going to do, believing in your actions, and believing in your plans going forward. Most importantly, believing in yourself. And when you have a better understanding of your self-identity, where am I from, where are my parents from, what are my goals, what do I want to do, what are my interests, all those things sort of play into being able to better establish sort of your own identity and your own path, understanding that this is your individual circumstance, this is your individual identity, and in that sense that gives you a lot more confidence, because confidence is about focusing on your own path and focusing on what you got to do yourself.
And I think it's also important to keep in touch with your culture and people that are similar, not only in terms of mindset, in terms of all that things, but also in terms of cultural background, and keep in touch with that to preserve that sense of identity, because a big part of identity is, of course, where you come from. And going to events, at least for me, going to events like Hindu events or Indian events is especially important, just keeping in touch with other people that have similar background to me.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to point out in terms of your self-identity and also keeping in touch, as Sid said, with your culture. I think there's a huge factor in, if you're not connected with your culture, your self-confidence just goes way down. And I've actually experienced that firsthand. When I went to my new school, I said this before, but it was predominantly white and Caucasian, and I was one of 5 Asians in my entire school. And, I've heard comments from other people and strangers or whoever I talk to just, on this feeling of being whitewashed and not, feeling, comfortable with the culture that you live in or the culture that, you represent. And I just wanted to point out that understanding that you can adopt different factors from different cultures, but feeling comfortable in a situation that you live in, I feel that I've definitely embodied myself in the Asian American culture as well as probably any of you. And I just wanted to point out that also, that also definitely bolsters your self-confidence. I just wanted to point that out in terms of touching and keeping in touch with your culture.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite end of that at my school, So where I go, everyone there is part of the AAPI community, and I'm
NHPI, Ollie.
NHPI,
Take it off
NHPI community, I'm Mexican, if you can remember from the last episode. I said it 20 times, but maintaining that culture while being surrounded by so many people, okay, so I'm gonna have to go on a little, backtrack a little bit to give this story some context. I already said this once, but I'm from Miami, right? So there we got all the Cubanos, all Argentinians, all Colombians. It's cool down there. It's all Latinos, right? And I was in my own skin there. I was chill. I was speaking Spanish with everybody, and I moved here in the 5th grade, and suddenly it's all white people and Asian people, and I'm like, whoa. And like slowly I kind of get like acclimated to the culture, you know. I'm always, like Ryan's saying, there's always this like kind of like narrative that you're kind of becoming too acclimated, almost to, like becoming part like of the white community, or in this case the Asian community. But I think, like Ryan was saying, you're assimilating the best part of your culture while also of their cultures while maintaining your own culture. So that's a huge part of identity, because you're adding the best parts of their culture while still maintaining who you are, you know. So you're really just like learning more about the world. It's not really, you know, being whitewashed or, you know, Asian washed.
Hey. Thanks for sharing.
That's my little story there. Yeah.
Of course. I think immediately beyond, I guess, culture and ethnicity, a certain extent of identity is identifying yourself with your interests. I guess for me, going into high school, I very much like, you know, man, I love history. History's great. This is my thing. This is my identity, right? It's, you know, whatever race, height, blah 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 blah, and then I like history when I go to school. But part of a good identity maintenance and general mental health maintenance is understanding that your identity can change, and you don't necessarily need to like all the things that you've liked all along. There's nothing wrong with changing, and I don't think I like history as much as much as when I started high school, for a variety of reasons. But you know, I like English now. English is cool, and switching your interests and being able to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, your identity is always changing, probably daily.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out also with the classes and all that I did go into high school also loving history, and then after the 53rd speech of Andrew Jackson and the Tariff of Abominations in AP US History, and I was just like, absolutely not. Going, again, as you said, to English. I love English. But I also know that your interests can change daily, and I think that trying to pursue your own passions is definitely the most important thing in terms of your confidence in what you do. Because if you're trying to follow the passions of everybody else and saying that, oh, this guy's joining the football team, I want to go play football, but I'm like gonna get crushed, I'm like a kicker. But understanding that, try not to fit into that mold, or understanding that your interests will always change, as you said, Max, like you could say daily as well. Understanding that can also allow you to fit in and also master your self-identity, which also is a direct relationship to, if you master your self-identity, your confidence will go straight up. And I wanted to point that out as well.
Actually, I want to backtrack on that daily statement. I think it's a little contradictory to have a stable identity, or like being okay with your identity and having it changing daily. If it changes daily, then whatever works for you. But at the same time, you know, everything's okay. We'll just say it there. Everything across the spectrum is all good as long as you're okay with it. Yeah.
I mean, adding on to you really quickly, like, I feel like change is like such an integral part of everyone's life, and it just like builds your character. So yeah, I just want to change.
Yeah, honestly, change. I mean, I think that's the word I forgot to say this entire time, change. Because understanding that your identity, it doesn't change daily, as you said like 3 times, but
Good.
knowing that change is definitely an important part of life. I think what all of us need to do, and I'm sure we all do, but we should all do it and spread awareness about this and do it a little bit more, is to embrace change. In terms of your self-confidence, I think that if your confidence wavers in terms of, you know, your academics, your athletics, or anything we've said previously, I think understanding that if there's change involved, like, we all have to embrace it and embrace that the fact there's going to be more change in the future. I think that's also a way, going back to the other question about how my confidence has always been, it goes up and down, but that's how it kind of went up in that moment. Understanding that going from that quarantine to that real person, the real person school, as I mentioned like 3 times, knowing that social interactions and actually talking with your teachers physically instead of muting yourself and closing your camera in front of everybody, I think understanding that change and understanding that there's more things that will be happening in the future, I think that's a very, very important way in terms of mastering your self-confidence. I want to mention change out as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about change?
I mean, like right now, I just changed how I look, you know. So I think Also, I've been the subject of change in a very recent time frame. I just got a buzz. So
he had very long, luscious curls before.
I had very long, luscious curls. But I had to work on the gym. I had to work on myself. I can't wake up every day and condition it for an hour. So the curls get really dry if I don't condition them for an hour. So I just buzzed it all off. I thought I was giving importance my body over my hair. So yeah, that was kind of. But also, I had to have the confidence to do that. The first month after buzzing my hair, I had to wear a hat, bro. I couldn't go out and, see myself and, oh, my God. That's
you were clean, though. You were clean.
I had to have the confidence, I'm past the half phase. I can go out, looking like this and accept who I am. That's a huge part of my identity now. And my confidence to, just look like this.
And change brings me back to your story about how you moved from Miami over to where we are now, New York. And similarly, I used to live in Singapore, which I went to an all-Indian school. And it was especially strange moving from Singapore, where it's a small island, a lot of people around you. I go to a school of people that all look like me, all have similar identities to me. Coming to where we are now, where everyone's very different. There's one thing I can definitely say about our schools. There's a wide range of different people. And one important thing for me was finding my own identity in that, because especially when I was in Singapore, I was much younger. I was around 6 when I moved here. But a big part of my identity lay in what my sister did. Whatever my sister did, I kind of went along with that and made that my identity. But coming to the US, I was kind of separated from her, and I didn't really interact with her as much, which I don't know if that's just a difference in terms of cultures, but when we came here, I was kind of forced to navigate it by myself, and I think that was especially important for finding who I was.
And in terms of embracing change, as I said, when I said that I went to a new school of a predominantly white community, there was definitely a point where I definitely felt different. But what I definitely learned within the past not 2 years, but since my lifetime when I was born, is that this sounds very corny, being different is good. Being different in your own way is good, 100%. And I think that me being in that community and not having, for example, I made all these friends in my old school, and now when I went to my new school, I didn't have any of those friends with me and also my friends were mostly from the AAPI community, NHBI community, and they all had similar identities. As you said, when you were in Singapore, everyone looked similar to you and everyone had the similar identities and all that. And I also wanted to point out that during that time frame, I never really had those friends for support, because they actually didn't attend the school that I was attending, or my new school. And I learned the lesson of that being different and having different passions, and just because you have a different identity than other people, it doesn't make you bad or doesn't make you lower than them. It actually makes you higher in your own way, just because that you don't fit into that mold of what other people think, which is definitely not the case in terms of my school, because my school allowed me to express myself freely. And the fact that my new set of friends definitely accepted who I am and accepted what I like to do, and they love me. I think that definitely helped me in terms of me learning the lesson of embracing change and understanding my self-identity.
And I actually think it's important to be in an environment where you're not with people that are like you. You're with people that are different, because that allows you to actually differentiate yourself, and you're forced to differentiate yourself and find how you're different.
I mean, dude, we're all very. I mean, you're very confident, dude. You're confident. Fist bump.
No.
Really? That's confidence. You're not confident? Okay.
You're very confident just saying chair.
Yeah, you were
my chair.
Like my chair. But I can all tell that we're very confident in who we are. As of this point right now, we all get to express ourselves freely, and we all can share our different or similar passions with each other. I just wanted to point out that I was not confident at all when I was younger. When I was younger, I was very, very anxious and very shy, and I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how I talked. I was short too, so that also didn't help as well. But I just wanted to point out for you guys, what advice would you give to your younger self in terms of learning your identity and bolstering your self-confidence?
I mean, I'll be honest, during times in 5th grade, I still had pretty good friends. You know, everybody was cool. Everybody was chill. But I did get teased a bit because I played professional Pokemon cards, man. I played professional Pokemon cards and a lot of video games.
Big
So I was,
Big up.
yeah. Actually, I won a little money. Like I was like super, I guess, for a fifth grader, like geeky. And I think if I go back and just tell my younger self something.
Keep on.
No.
That did not go in, by the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
He's completely bricked.
For the record, that's not good.
Anyways, if I go back and
That was funny.
if I go back and tell my younger self something about confidence and whatnot, I would just say I don't think I really cared what other people thought anyways back then, but I would just reaffirm that, you know, just do what you want to do, and it's your own path, and if you enjoy doing something, just keep going with it, whether or not you remain interested in it when you grow up. Yeah, I mean, as long as you vibe with it yourself and it's not like, you know, a criminal offense, it's all good.
Ryan, to answer your question, I would say you should have the ability to adapt to situations that you're uncomfortable in. Even, I mean, as like if you're younger, obviously it's going to be more difficult. But I feel like as you grow into like an adult, you know, we're all almost at the age of adolescence. We're pretty much at the age of adolescence, but still we're going to go to college soon. I feel like it just helps build your character. So
I think something I tell my younger self is that just quite literally, like, very simple. Just believe that the process will work, and just believe in yourself, and that everything will just work out. Because when I was younger, like a big thing I struggled with was confidence, and a big reason for that is because like I'm the youngest of my family of four siblings, and so basically like, and I'm like kind of a lot younger, so basically they'll be in like high school while I was still in elementary school, and they'll just like you know, like whenever like my oldest brother, who's kind of like the guy who like did everything around the house, like he did the chores, like he mowed the lawn and like he like fixed cars, blah blah blah, right? Like to be his personal assistant, right, as like the youngest sibling, like it almost just seemed like, you know, like he had all the talent while I like nothing, because I was like I couldn't even do the simple things, right, as like, you know, hold the flashlight, right, or like give him the correct stuff, like look for the right things. Like it almost just felt like, you know, he just did everything so smoothly, everything just went so nice, and like it almost like he knew everything, right? And it's just like that on top of like all my other siblings also like doing like, you know, good things also smoothly, and like in terms of my like eyes, like I always thought that, oh, like, you know, I hope I could like grow up into like that one day, but like, you know, I never like truly kind of believed that it would turn out that way. But I mean, now that I've grown up pretty much to the age now, like I do firmly believe that I've developed a lot more confidence and like, you know, a lot more skills and abilities. And so just, you know, just let my younger self know that just believe, and it will come, and it will come.
I mean, I think if I had to give one piece of advice to myself when I was younger, it would definitely be to not be afraid of being wrong, and just take it in stride whenever something goes wrong or whenever you mess up. Don't let that define you, and don't let that kind of shape who you are and who you're going to be.
also, I think an important point is don't let others dictate like what you do and your decisions, because I mean, have like the mindset that like you shouldn't care what they say. Obviously, take into consideration what they say, but be true to yourself and like your values, because that ultimately is like that's your identity, and that just builds your confidence in general.
Yeah, and I also want to speak on, again, we talked about change. If I saw my 6th grade self or my 7th grade self, that little short guy, like right here, okay, he was really short, I'd tell him to embrace change. And that's really about it, because embracing change, understanding that other things might go your way, things might not go your way, and understanding that the result is the result, and sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Understanding that would have definitely helped me through my youth or middle school years, because I was just that kid where I didn't really accept a lot of situations that didn't go my way. Like, I didn't accept it. I thought there was so much things, like I failed, I should have done better, like I could have done better, I'm gonna do better now. And that feeling of self-doubt definitely resided in me in terms of if I failed, especially in academics as well. I'm not going to bring up the honors math situation again, but
Please do.
Okay, no. But also understanding that if I went to my younger self and said, like, this is the way it is, and be true to yourself and follow your passions and don't let anyone bring you down, I think that's something, and embracing change is definitely something that I would tell my younger self. Definitely, yeah.
I think just one thing before we close it off here. On top of telling your younger self, just, being that, we're moving up in the world and we're getting tables and more people are watching these now.
Sure.
What's one thing that you would say, to your family or to your friends or, just to the world about confidence, something that they should be aware about?
Acknowledge and affirm the little things. Because I feel like a lot of people only put weight on the big things, on succeeding in some big event, but acknowledging the little things is how you kind of build yourself up and make sure that failing at things don't hurt as much.
Yeah, go into what you said about accomplishments and not treating failures as something that brings you down. Like the smallest accomplishment is an accomplishment, because when you succeed, it's a success. It doesn't matter how big or small it is, but definitely for your confidence and to bolster your self-confidence, celebrate that. It doesn't have to be like this huge, you won the world champion or whatever. You can just celebrate getting a good score on your math test. And just by appreciating yourself and what you did to get to that situation and understanding that the result is the result, and the fact that you created a situation where you did get the result you wanted to, I think that celebrating that and understanding that now you just got to move on. And also honestly, just celebrating the results is something that I would say too.
For sure. I think also we're more confident together, right? When we all have similar goals and we go into a situation together, we have each other's backs. That's a big way to boost confidence, and that's a big way to, go into something strong.
I think also you have to kind of remember that, like, you're not the main character too. Like, I'm not trying to be offensive, like,
What? Come on now.
but like when I was a little kid, right? Like, I was ashamed of a lot of things. Like my dad used to like whistle in public or something. Now I was like kind of like, I don't know why, but like I was kind of ashamed of that. And he always used to tell me that like nobody cares, Like this is like he's doing this around people that he's never gonna see again, And nobody's gonna pull out a phone and record you because you're like whistling or like singing or something like that, Like unless you're like around someone like really judgmental, then you should probably like distance yourself from that. But like again, like nobody cares, man. Like just do what you do, be cool with it. You're confident, like do it, So.
Yeah, I think another like really big thing about confidence is just understanding that like the process is what it's like the process basically is what obviously determines the outcome. So it's just like you just need to understand that all the work that you've put in to like achieve a goal or to achieve something that you always want to be just to achieve to be successful, like it all comes from the process, and the result is just simply like a byproduct of all the hard work you put in the process. So it's just like I think when you're like in that big scenario, like in that match or in that whatever like heavily pressured scenario you're in, like just refer back to that the process is really the process determined the match already. It's just you just have to be confident that what you put in was enough, and that that the process was fitting for whatever goal you're trying to achieve.
Sure. And adding on to just what Sid said earlier, like focusing on the small things, I feel like when you accomplish continuously accomplishing small things, they'll eventually add up to like something really great, and that will overall just boost your confidence because you've done all these little things you've done all the hard work to achieve overall good confidence.
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, just vibe with yourself, vibe with your identity. Try to be confident. If you could apply anything that you found while we were rambling, yeah, man, that's pretty much it. That's confidence and identity. Episode 4, right? 4,
Yeah.
Technically 5th, but the first one doesn't exist. Episode 4 of OCA Youth Podcasting. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace out.
Thank you,
So,
guys.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.